Hey everybody, this is Perch. Got a mail here that actually it's funny because I was just talking about this topic with someone else on text, and we were going back and forth. And I I would love to just one of these days we're going to do a Perch series of interviews, and it's when everybody, including me, is willing to just burn down all relationships and just go for it. But I guarantee you, this is one of those cases where you would have loved. I know enough of you. You would have loved to be in the fly on the wall with this conversation. It would have hit so many notes, for sure, and it would have. Anyway. I'll stop teasing. Anyway, this mail. Hey Perch, I've got a question for you. When I read a lot of these interviews, or when I look at some of the Facebook posts of some of the creators, it comes across to me it comes across to me like they're trying to impress people who are way younger than they are. Like the older guy who's trying to convince the girl that, yeah, I totally lift and I own a boat. I'm a free spirit. When really he's about 50 and she's 18. That's how a lot of these comic creators sound, like they're trying to impress someone. I'm not sure if it's I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it went. No, okay. I'm not sure if it's the audience. That's what the person's being say. I'm not sure if it's the audience they're trying to attract or some people they're trying to look cool in front of, but it just looks incredibly cringy and like the person is trying to pick up someone at least half their age. Do you think there's any truth to this? Is this what's going on with several of the creators? All right. Again, it's funny because I was literally just having a conversation with somebody where this was the basic theory that we were talking about. I'll leave it at that. Um, yes, the answer is yes. That is a factor with some people for sure. There is a desire to look cool, and again, you probably have seen this person in your office or wherever you are. You've seen the person who comes up, and it's like, yeah. Have you ever? There's a guy. There's a guy that I used to not work with, but anyway, the guy was a consultant, and he'd come around, and he was dressing. I mean, at least 10 years younger than really was sane, and it just didn't work for him. It's like with a lot of people when a lot of people squeeze themselves in. And okay, so this may sound sexist. I don't care, and keep in mind you can dress in whatever you want to dress in. Nobody is stopping you. This is not, the Handmaid's Tale where you're being forced to do things. So nobody's saying you're forced to do anything. However, if you are, let's just say, heavier, if you're a woman and you're heavier, but you don't want to, experience the shame, I guess, in wearing, say, a size 18 or 20, you would prefer it if your jean size was a 4, but you fit into a 20. Don't try and split the difference by getting jeans that are, say, a 10 and then looking like somebody is squeezing you like a like somebody's grabbed a hold of a muffin and is just crunching down on the stem there, and you're overflowing like I don't know. Don't do that. You look terrible. You look worse than if you just bought the size that fits you. Go for elegance, and people wouldn't notice. I mean, they would not notice as much. Obviously, you're still going to look heavier if you're a size 20 versus a size 4, but you're at least going to look heavier with some grace and not heavier awkwardly trying to be something you're not. Now again, it's free country. You can buy and do anything you want. But I think a lot of people are kind of blind to the fact of you look super ridiculous. It's kind of like people who are clearly bald, but they've got a few wisps of hair and they're trying to do some kind of comb over, or they're doing the spray paint hair. They just spray paint a color on the top of their bald head and they're like, no, I've got hair. Nobody thinks you have hair. You look ridiculous to everyone. Now, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want, but you look insane. You look like somebody who's trying to deny reality. You look like some of the Republican friends of mine who are trying to deny Tuesday's race. Anyway, um, I'll just squeeze that in there. Like a woman trying to squeeze herself into size 8 jeans when she's like a 30. So the size is just going up. Anyway, that's kind of it. So in comics, having met a number of people at conventions, and there's definitely people, I won't name names, but you can tell, who are desperately trying to flex that they are younger than they are. And what they really desire is if they can, and I was mentioning this because this consultant would come around and he would use the word totes, Totes. The problem was he was in his late 40s and he was not a 16-year-old girl. So when he would say totes, he sounded ridiculous. People would laugh at him. He always thought they were like laughing at how cool and kind of witty he was. Like they realized he realized they were laughing at kind of his choice of words, but he didn't realize that they were laughing at him for looking and sounding like a dumbass. And then he would wear he would wear a lot of Abercrombie and Fitch. But the problem is Abercrombie as a clothing brand is also not as cool for people when in 2022. This is I guess 2020. It wasn't as cool in that year that it was in say 2005, where Hollister and some of these brands actually had a lot more pull, and they're not people are still going into American Eagle and these places to get clothes, but it's not if you're a late 40s year old man and you're dressing in Abercrombie and you're saying totes and sus, you do look and are sus. I'll just throw that out there. I'm sure at some point you've encountered somebody like this. Well, yes, there are definitely comic professionals who I think are doing the same thing. And then it comes across in the work. The work, appears and sounds cute, but it's not. It's a bit like, look, if Neil Gaiman suddenly started writing, YA kind of coming of age teen stories, and he didn't write it in his style, but suddenly he's trying to write it like, I mean, look, you get the idea. It would be ridiculous, and definitely some comics come across that way. Whenever there's the comics that they do the cutesy captions, it's like Captain Marvel, fierce fighter, not somebody you want to mess with, cat lover, like that kind of cutesy stuff to me always reads like somebody who's desperately trying to make friends with someone half their age, girl or boy, and they just hope that if they could do that, then it's like the it's a cliche. It's like the older lady who's going to be like, hey, what are we doing tonight? Are we doing karaoke? I love karaoke, and I hope we do some Jello shots. That would be cool. Is that what the kids are doing? Hey, fellow kids, I'm one of you. I know. Come on, and let's go do it. I'm cool. That's how this stuff comes across. Very, very hard. Sus comes across that way. Anyway, I for what it's worth, I'm very proud to be the age I am. I'm part of Gen X, the absolute baller of a baller. We're the tough kids. That's who we are, and fuck everybody else. I'm kidding. Just age gracefully. And yes, I do think in comics there is a little bit of a problem with people trying to, you know, they want to be cool. Look, and look, you got a number of factors going on. You got people who are, they're in comics. There's a little bit of an insecurity complex going on there, but they want to be cool and alternative. I'm not a jock. I'm alternative. It's really that thing playing out. It's like the Breakfast Club from the 80s, as if people in 2022 are still using it as a manual for life. That's how a lot of stuff comes across. And, if you can relate it to now comics and creativity, it comes across as phony. And it never sells as well. It never does as well because it is phony. And everybody can see it, a mile away. The only people who are going to pull in with that shit are going to be people who are also trying to escape the reality of their current age and hoping that by reading this stuff, they're also able to, pretend that they're, 20 years younger than they are, and they're, going to be invited to the cool, sexy teenager, sex club that they're never going to get invited to. It's that's unfortunately that's where it's at. You go to a con, and next time you go to a convention, just walk up and down and just take a look at everybody, and you'll quickly find the people who are comfortable in their skin, and the ones who are desperately trying to look as cool as humanly possible. I'm thinking of one person in particular. I'll let you all guess in the comments below. But there is definitely one comic professional, I will not say who is just desperate to fit in with the younger crowd. And they are not young anymore. They are not that age. And nobody wants them to. Nobody needs them to be that age. And, the writing, oh, see, I'm giving it away a little bit. The writing comes across like that, comes across phony. The look comes across phony. And I don't know what the game is. Is the hope that, there will be that lucky one insecure groupie that's going to come up and want to fuck you? Because that's the only thing that I can think of for the reason to do this. Because, or they're just, this person has no friends who are brave enough to go up to him and be like, hey, you look like an asshole. You should, you be your true self, live your true life. But you look ridiculous. P.S. The kids are now taking the tags off the hats. That's that's they don't leave them hanging on there like that anymore. That is a decade old trend. Doesn't work. You might want to unroll those jeans as well. That's at least 30 years old of a style at this point. Can it just move it along? Just Anyway, I'm trying to think now. Which is worse, the comic creator Artist Alley, or creator Autograph Alley, who is dressing like a complete and utter douchebag because they're uncomfortable with their age. Is that worse, or alternatively, is it worse when they just come in a complete slob? There's one comic creator I'm now thinking of who showed up like a ratty t-shirt with a hole in the armpit, and you could see part of the armpit hanging out of it, and sweat jeans. And I want to go up and like, sir, I would like to direct you to Mr. Ben Templesmith. Have you seen the way this guy dresses? He could leave the show floor right now and be the guest of honor at the fanciest dinner party in town. Aspire to be Ben Templesmith. That's all I'm saying here. Ben absolutely, in addition to being just a world-class mate, is the undisputed king of attire at the cons, and that there's zero shot in that. I know you listen to the show. You dress awesome, man. Every time you look total class, and you know what? As funny as it sounds, I guarantee you that people, if you're an organizer, and in comes Mr. Templesmith, and he's all put together, and he's got his shit together, and he's like, if you're thinking like, who do I want to have come back to the con and have like the prestige spot here on the corner or the place, or many cons I've gone to where Ben is there exhibiting, he's got a very high visibility booth, and I don't know if he's paid for it. I don't know anything about it. But some part of me believes the con organizer is like, let's put the guy who actually shows up to work like he gives a fuck about what he is doing in the prime visibility spot, because he looks always well put together. Anyway, all right, enough silliness. Dress your age, folks. You're fooling nobody. And one of these days you're going to get arrested by Chris Hansen if you keep this shit up. Thanks for listening.